I laugh. Hi, Ponderers. Good evening. It's time to do some splashing, but I don't know. It's kind of cold out there.
Yeah, I think the pond may have iced over.
It's iced over. It's frozen. Speaking of that, in my classroom, we were talking about what it means to have a frozen pond and why it's dangerous and like testing the ice. There's a beautiful picture book, but it's not just a picture book. The artwork is stunning, and it's called Testing the Ice, and it was written by Jackie Robinson's daughter. I think her name's Sharon or Shannon. Oh my gosh, and it's about a pond, and it's all beautiful. I would just read it with my kiddos, and now it's on my head. And is it African American or Black History Month? Is that what February is, right?
Used to
Yeah.
be, yeah.
Not used to be, it still is. So I slipped that in. We got some education in. Anyway, it's a beautiful book. If anybody's interested, let me know. It's a scholastic book, and it's gorgeous. And it was about a pond. And of course, the whole time I'm reading it with my kiddos, I
What's
was
the
thinking
name of
about
it?
I think uh testing the ice, because Jackie Robinson was the kids say very brave and, outstanding athlete, blah, 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 what he did, to break the barrier, because that's in there. But he didn't know how to swim, Kathy. And he didn't really like water. And he bought a beautiful home. I know this is off, but there's a pond there. And beautiful home, and they'd go out and they'd ice skate, and they needed someone to test the ice, and he finally went out and did it. But there was a figurative language meaning with test the ice, and my kids got it. Not all of them, but most of them, which I was really excited about.
I may actually check that one out. Sounds good.
Thank you. It was Sharon. What did I say? Wasn't sure if it was what I
You said
say.
you said Sharon, maybe Shannon, but you were right the first
It is
time.
Sharon. Yep, good. Yes,
It,
she
it
is the author.
yep.
So anyway, it's a beautiful book, beautiful picture book. The artwork is amazing. And before I move on, I have to say this. There is this one photograph where what's his name? Ricky. I can't think of, like, he's there asking him to join, right? Because he's in the Negro League. And I had to explain to the children that we could say that word Negro League, because that's what it was called. They got all bent out of shape. But anyway, they were afraid. We have them face to face in this and the artwork is beautiful. How the background is black, but how they do the shades of their faces and their hair. The words are in white. It's a stunning book.
I,
Anyway.
I just found out within the last year that my uncle
Mm-hmm.
very briefly played in the Negro Leagues with Jackie Robinson. Very briefly. He wasn't
From the
he
Monarchs?
wasn't a regular or a star or anything,
Okay.
but he did play in there briefly. I'm learning more and more about my family history.
Okay. All right. I don't know what that means. Hello, fellow froggies. What does that mean?
Ponds. Frogs are in the pond.
Oh,
Frogs
okay.
hang out in the pond.
Got you. But here's our official Ponderers. We are Ponderers. Okay. Frogs in the pond. Everybody's like telling me. Took me a minute to figure out that. All right. Okay. So we all said our hellos, and I gave my little plug. I didn't mean to. It just popped out. And by the way, yes, I do work with Scholastics, but this is not sponsored by Scholastic. They have no idea that I was going to say what I was going to say. Okay. Neither did I. So I'm going to show you people's, because you like to show us your notes on Facebook. I am going to show you. Look at all of these. This is how I take notes. That's my way of taking notes. And then I'm going to even show you this. I spilled my dressing on it. I was walking across the room and my dressing spilled. And this. Okay, so I've got lots of notes.
Yeah,
But
there maybe need to be a part two.
No, there's no part two. But Kathy said she only has 2 words. I have all these notes, and Kathy said she had just 2 words.
It's actually gone to 4.
Okay, but she was being sarcastic. All right, let's start off with this. I want to know, and I want to know from here too, if you had to think of because I felt like there was a lot that happened and I liked it. And there was so much that I was expecting, and this never happens. Oh, is it going to end? And I'm like, wait, we still got, I don't know how many more minutes. Like, I was surprised. It happened to me when I was rewatching it too. I was like, oh, wait, there's still more that's going to happen. I felt like we got a lot of advancement and some things answered, not fully, but enough. So I was like, I truly enjoyed it a lot. Is it cold in your house, Roxanne? You're all bundled up. I'm in. It is. It's not cold in my house. It's cold in Jersey. Okay, it's like 8 degrees. I have my Hallmark thing on. The very first time I ever wore this, Deb Johnson was with me, and I always think of her when I put it on. So I miss her. Anyway, okay. They want to know, Kathy, if your 2 words are Grandpa Hunky.
No, I love Grandpa Hunky.
All right. So we got to get on topic. I feel like, you know what I feel like? I'm not going to say the podcasters' names, but they're always off task and acting goofy, and I don't want to do that. So anyway, I want to hear from everyone what was their favorite part of this whole entire episode. I know you might have a lot, but narrow it down to one. I want to hear about it. I want to talk about mine. Kathy, do you have a favorite part?
Yeah.
All right.
Ending credits.
The what?
Ending credits.
What was in the ending credits? Wait a minute, they're not ending credits. Oh. I'm over here.
A minute, but I knew you'd get there.
I was like, what? That's mean. Okay.
I was annoyed this episode. Everybody annoyed me.
Tell me who annoyed you the most.
Kat.
I don't know who annoyed you the most.
Kat. I'm sick of her self-righteousness. I'm sick of her judgment. I'm sick of her looking at every excuse to go poke her nose where it doesn't belong. Jacob's a grown man. If he wanted to stay in 1814, leave him alone. Why does she feel the need to control everybody and everything? She kisses Thomas and comes back, and she and Elliot are, oh yeah, la-di-da, la-di-da. He kisses Emma and she's like shattered. It's all dramatic. I have to go find a friend. Oh, just stay in 1814. Everybody in this episode was annoying me, but she was right up there at the top. And Nick with the karaoke. Alice with the, oh, Colton saying goodbye to Dell. I have to go back and see that. Why? Do you not have any business of your own to mind?
She does.
The only person I liked in this episode was Max.
Okay, and hold that thought because we should talk more about Max. Don't forget it, write it down, put it on a post-it. But I wanted to talk to you about what you just said a minute ago. Doesn't she have anything? No. If you remember when earlier seasons, when she needed a friend, she jumped in the pond and went to go talk to young Kat, okay? And we could have thought of it because it was like a connection with her mom. But she didn't have any present-day friends. Now she doesn't either. She said, I need a friend. And
because so the producers took her friend away. She had a friend.
Oh, Kat. I know Kat did. She was becoming good friends with Monica. But now we've got, I'm talking about Alice.
Oh, I missed that.
Alice doesn't have a friend. Kat doesn't either. So hold on. So what happens for Alice is she would jump in the pond to go talk to her mom from, when she was young. Alice went and hopped in the pond and to go talk to Evelyn because she said I needed a friend. Kat doesn't really have a friend either. Kat, when she said she needed a friend, because she said that to her, but it was needing friends. I think that was the theme. She hopped in the pond to go talk to Susanna. And I'm like, why don't they have any present day friends?
Then go to the cafe, go to church, go to the movie. You can make friends. She's the head of the newspaper. You should know anybody? That's flimsy. It's flimsy.
I know. So I didn't think it was flimsy. Here's what my focus is about this. And I've said it before. I have it right here. Kat, emotional trauma. The girl was shot. Her father died. Her brother went missing. Then she goes back and she thinks she causes her father's death. And then she and her mother didn't talk forever. Didn't realize that her mother wanted her in her life. I mean, any one of those things is traumatic. The same with Elliot, the same with Dell. They've all had major trauma. And this is, I loved what Susanna said about her. She talked when she was talking to Thomas and she was talking to Jacob. She said that Catherine, if you're feeling bad, she's feeling worse because, but Catherine, where was it? My little notes. I was going to quote her, but I guess I don't know where I put it. She said, she's feeling worse because she loves the people she loves. She fights for them. So more or less, go home. You shouldn't be here. Go back, go home. And then Jacob eventually goes home. So people are like cats. People, you're not the only person. There's many people are saying she's annoying me. She does not annoy me at all. It's part of the conflict, and I like it because it's how she's always been since the beginning. The writers are very good at keeping and sticking to their characters. And we also have to see their characters grow. And she has grown because she has found ways to not to tell people, because she would always take it all on herself. She's a fixer. And so I'm okay with her thinking she can fix stuff, and then she does it and she owns it. She cries. She's upset by herself. She has the conversation with her mother. I loved that scene between Dell and how they hugged. And I also love the scene where she's singing with Elliot and they did the flashbacks. Like, oh, there's a couple other cinematography things I liked. I liked when Alice wants to go look at the attic, and so she goes, let's go. But when you see the door open to the attic, out in falls Jacob, because it's in the past. And there was something else. I think somebody jumping in a pond and then someone else coming. I love that. I love how they played on that. I thought that was good.
I'm sick of the relentless angst.
Well, there's going to be angst. That's the whole storyline.
But every character, every episode, it's a lot. In the earlier seasons, I swear on season 1, it wasn't this intense. They would break it up with some humor and with other characters who weren't invested in, the time travel. And that to me, that was some variety, and I enjoyed it, and it made it more enjoyable for me. And now it's just all intensity, characters experiencing, reliving their trauma and feeling guilty and, going to the past for this reason or that reason. And it's too much for me. It seems like they're just coming up with stuff. It's no longer character driven, it's being plot driven. We want this to happen, so we'll have this character do and say this, and this character will do and say, yeah.
And so then I see it totally the opposite. Like I said, I feel like it's very much character driven, and they're moving on. We're showing some growth. I have to say that one of the things that I really enjoyed was when Jacob came back and Alice said she saw him at the pond and he's like, I'm not jumping in. I need some space. And she said, who she goes to was Elliot. Like, go to him. He's a really good listener. And he did. And they had a relationship when they were younger, and they're kind of finding their way. And then Kat overhears it and sees it. And she's like, I'm going to go home, stay home. It would be great if Jacob had you, like he be your roomie. This, of course, is after she's all hurt because he kissed somebody. And let's face it, she's kissed people too. I know there was different times where they weren't in a relationship. They weren't, whatever it was. She was still having feelings for another man. She got all bothered by the song. I get that. People are like, it's a double standard. No, here's what I think.
And she's bossy.
So here's
so what's his name is going to live with you, Elliot. Elliot has no choice on this. I'm moving out and Jacob is moving in.
No, she didn't say that. She said it would be good if he did. I mean, Elliot can make up his own mind.
Do it. That was her way of telling him to do it. She's telling Suzanne, you can't marry Cyrus. She's telling Jacob, you've got to come back with me. Mom, I have to go back and get him. He has no free will. It doesn't matter what he wants. I got to go back and go get him. She was irritated.
And it never works out. And it never works out. And then it causes drama.
And she learns nothing from it.
She does, and then she doesn't. And people don't change overnight. You know what I mean? If we're going to think about it. But you made me forget what I was going to say when she was talking about Elliot and she was going to go back and the kiss. I don't remember what I was going to say.
She was all upset with Elliot after she said that Jacob needed a friend. And then she said, I could use a friend too. And her first thought was to go back in time to Thomas. So
to go back to Susanna, not Thomas. She was going back to see Thomas, just happened to be there. And she's like, he kissed so-and-so. And she goes, and he kissed her real hard. And he goes, and now you've kissed, someone too. You know, like, get over. I love Thomas's way of it. And I love when Thomas jumped in to see if he could go, and then when he couldn't. And he's like, enough. Like, he shook his head, like he's had enough. But I wanted to say that I liked the scene with Jacob and Elliot and them talking to each other and talking about the past and like Cat, I mean, I love the relationship of Alice and Elliot too. And so she was like, go to him. He'll be your, you know, like she didn't say sounding board, but I liked it. So I was going to say something else, but I forgot because you got me. So it'll come to my brain. But I wanted to address an issue here because I'm on a roll with this. I am tired. I don't care if half the fan page leaves on wherever I'm an admin. I am so sick and tired of people having an agenda and they're like, you and I are not agreeing. Okay, well, we're going to respectfully disagree. We're going to give in the 2 minutes when or 2 minutes after this is over, we're going to be fine talking about 952 other things. That's not why she went black. I know where Kathy's going. So anyway, put it back.
I got you. I respectfully disagree.
So anyway, coming back to this, I am tired of people who, when someone doesn't agree with you are saying or doing, does not mean that you have to go post and post and post and post your point. Get off and move on. Now I'm going to talk about this one right here. And I knew Kathy was going to exit out. She has to do something. She, if she can, she'll come back. Jennifer, I'm going to address this. Kathy, you have some issues that should be resolved before you do this podcast. That's not nice, Kathy. I mean, Jennifer, and you are incorrect. She doesn't have any issues. She's actually really smart and is telling her point. I think that, Jennifer, you need a lesson in kindness. And if it continues, you'll be booted. So that was it. I wanted to address the nonsense that someone said on here. It really ticked me off. All right. Someone's favorite part was Kat and Elliot singing. I thought it was a very sad song.
Which one was it? What was the song?
It's one that I really don't recognize. It's one of Fleetwood Mac's songs. Pretty sure it was and I'm pretty sure it was Fleetwood Mac. And it was about I can't think of the name of it. Someone here is going to tell me. So anyway, they're singing the song, which kind of was talking about themselves. And then what happens next is Dell walks in and they have that makeup scene. I loved how it rolled into that. But like I said, they showed the flashbacks of them. And I thought it was great. You know that they're endgame. You absolutely know that they are. However, they've got a hiccup. Of course, they're going to have a hiccup. They're not going to be like lovey-dovey. This is not the story. It's not how it works. They're still working out so much crap. They're finding out so much stuff. We couldn't just never hear about Emma. And now Emma comes back and she kissed him and he kissed her. I'm like, whatever. I'm all good with it. I'm all good. But the song I thought was not my favorite part, but it was fun. It was sad to me, but it was good. But here's what comes out of that. This is what is annoying me. This is the only character that they have changed. So Nick in the past was a sensitive, sweet, fun kid. He was a cute guy, right? Nick in the present is a buffoon. And I don't care if people are going to get upset. And you know who he reminds me of? I'm very much into, I love Heartland. And his character is a buffoon on Heartland. He's like, oh, especially when he was younger. Not so much when he gets older. It was like he was him. They plucked him off of Heartland and flung him into The Way Home. He was like, says stupid jokes, was kind of not smart, made dumb mistakes. And I didn't find it funny. I
wonder if that's related to any trauma he's experienced. I mean, I think from his perspective, Alice was teenage Nick's, the love of his life, or, as far as he knows from back then.
Mm-hmm.
And we have yet to know what he's experienced since then. They brought him back. They kept bringing him back, periodically. Now they brought him back for this. I'm thinking that he may be back because there's a story to tell with him. And so maybe there's something going on in his life that has caused him to change personalities. And like you were saying earlier, it could be some sort of trauma.
They noticed that he's a buffoon. We saw a tiny bit of it last season when he had his socks everywhere and he just barges into the house of Elliot's. It's just that's not how he was when he was younger. And
Yeah,
he is
but
like,
people change too.
I know he's very much different though, and I don't like this Nick. I love the Nick when he was younger. This one is just like he makes dumb mistakes. Like he doesn't think he's a buffoon. I can't even think of another word for it. And they're just talking like you could see there is no reaction in Alice at all. It's like this is a totally separate person. He's the same when they're sitting near there talking to each other. They were bickering like they were brother and sister. She's like, that's not the song, Landslide. He goes, oh, I knew it was about nature. It's called something, whatever. I forget what the song is called. So
It kind of supports my issue that they change the characters any way they want to in order to advance the plot.
well, that they've adult Nick has always been this way.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I don't.
For some reason, they didn't want adult sensitive Nick because it serves some kind of agenda,
Yeah.
even if it's only comic relief for the show.
No, you know what it would have done? It would have made it even harder for us to accept that those two can't be. You know what I meant?
Exactly. That makes my point. They had to change him to keep the plot going where Alice isn't attracted to adult Nick and vice versa.
Yeah. All right. A lot of people, Lillian likes this. The scene of Alice chasing Casey to the pond. Yes. And she jumps in. Of course, we all knew she was a time traveler. And of course, we know that she's got to have Landry blood in her, even though she says she's a Goodwin. So somewhere in time, a Goodwin and a Landry got together and they made Casey. And I said she and I meant they. It's a mistake I make. I'm working on it. Don't come for me. I try very hard. So they are a Goodwin and a Landry. And one of the things that I realized is when Casey's having this conversation, I think it's with Alice, brings up Sam and says something like Sam Bishop. And she's like, Sam, oh yeah, I don't think that that's his real name or who he really is. So something's going on with Sam. There's still a big mystery. Amanda says, Kat really does need a good friend in present day. So does Alice. Dell often
because I'm not sure Rita is that good of a friend anymore.
I know. Dell often gives great advice. It would also be nice for Kat to sit and talk through things with Elliot. Maybe she will learn too. Well, the thing is, they both have issues and they're both a hot mess, but they're still going to come back together. But they need to, there's like, come on now. The story would be if they were just all lovey-dovey again. So we still got some episodes to go. We'll see where this is going.
It's a whole lot to cram in 3 episodes, and I'm sure they're going to leave us with a cliffhanger or two.
Lynn wanted them to sing a song from season 1. They sang All For You. I love that song. I listen to it all the time. And when they sang together in the car, yeah. Yes, Kat had a great friend in Elliot, and then they started doing that kissy face and messed it all up. And I don't know. They are good friends, and they could talk to each other like friends, but it's just like she's got a lot going on, and she's trying to fix everything. And I think, because I've been in this situation before, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself real quick. All my life, not all my life, I'm wrong. When I think I was, been a part of this, Kathy. I guess I was 14. There was my neighbor who was in love with me, and I was not in love with him. And that went on until way, way into adulthood. Okay. Like the ground I walked on worshiped. I could do no wrong. It was that kind of crazy obsession kind of stuff through all those years. So in my head, right, I'm banking on that, even though I'm not banking on it. I'm just saying that's the next time I see him, that's what I'm going to get worshipped, right? Okay. So Kat always had Elliot there no matter what. She's the one that always left. She's the one that always determined where they were going and what was going to happen. And here she finds out that Elliot kissed back because she said, that's okay. She kissed you. I get it. But he said, no, I kissed her back. That's the thing that threw her off. That's why she can't get over or around it, even though it is a double standard. And eventually it's going to click in her brain. But her sure thing, the person that would die for her, basically, the person that loved her through time, kissed someone else back in the midst of, like, it's almost like he wanted to destroy it, and so does she, because they're too afraid to say, okay, let's go for it, because they're damaged. Both of them are damaged and they need some help. We all need some therapy. All right, there's so many things that we could talk about. Someone's saying thanks to Donna. Okay, Donna, I think, here's Rose. I think they shy away from giving Kat and Alice present day friends because them having friends in the time travel eras pushes past along because they want, I'm sorry, what is it?
Pushes plots along.
Okay. Along become okay. I get that, but again, it goes along with their personalities and who it is. Christina says it's the idea of the show to create drama in the show. It's not always going to go your way, but that's why the show is so good. Yep.
I
Now,
don't want it to always go my way. I just want it to make sense to me. And it just it's feeling a little one note at the moment. I'm not seeing any variety in their feelings.
We talked a little bit about that. We need a lot answered, and that's going to bring me up. Don't let me forget that I've got a slide to show. Hey, Lynn, I think Casey is Jacob's child. Remember in season 2 when Kat was on the phone asking for an aged photo of Jacob, and Casey turned and looked at Kat funny? Yes. Maybe. We'll see. You're not the only one, Lynn, to think that. Catherine says, was that chess piece found in the attic a bishop? I don't know. A lot of people are speculating on that. I'm not sure, but it is a chess piece and the burner phone. And Casey admitted that they were staying and squatting at the place. So here's something I loved and I thought was ironic. Evelyn doesn't fully have the right story, or we're led to believe, because she never really said what the name was. Evelyn said that an ancestor locked their wife up in the attic. But that wasn't the case at all, because when she summoned for Jacob to come see her, and then Thomas came because he thought it was in dire need. He comes in with his sword his gun, and he's like, "Oh, I thought it's funny." He has
like Susanna's calling the shots.
Yes, because she says to Cyrus, "You're not allowed up here." Like it's her place. And he's like, okay, my love, but you got 2 men in here. It risks your reputation, risks my reputation, our reputation. And he was very jealous because he hears Jacob say, like, something like him wanting her or whatever, but that's not exactly what was happening. So he's got a little, jealousy going on. And I thought, look at that. And that's when she whips out the painting and she says, Kat, like, people are like, oh, she's in love. No, she's not in love with her. She admires her because she did a lot to save them. And that's when she tells them, well, fight for your family. They did, all of that good stuff.
And she has the freedom and the strength that Susanna wishes she had, but she can't have because of the period in which she lives.
Yes. And I knew it. I knew that planting of the potato and rye was something important, because when Kat was back there and they said, someone helped us, he said it in passing. I always forget what the father's name is. Is Isaiah? No, it's not Isaiah. Elijah said, oh, someone helped us, told us about planting potato and rye. It's what saved us. And she looks, potato and rye, you know what I mean? And I'm like, something's going to come up with that. And it is. It's young Colton from the one we see from the 70s went back and visited. So I'm excited to see how that works.
I think we could end the series in one episode if Grandpa Hunky would show up, call everybody into the dining room, sit down, and everybody have a conversation, because he's the key to everything. And I think by the time this is all over, it's going to be a scenario of him just talking to somebody, maybe the whole family or just Dell, but him relating a story of his origins and how all this stuff ties in together. He's the key to everything. And I don't know if anyone agrees with this, but I think Sam is going to turn out to be Colton's older brother.
A lot of people are agreeing with that. It's all over our fan page everywhere and in the chat. So that I don't know if I agree with it, but a lot of people are thinking it. Let's see. Hold on. I think they oh, I read that one. I liked when Kat asked Elliot if he knew what happened next, and he said no. Yep, because he was being honest with their relationship. Remember, though, when Elliot left on his trip, it really hit Kat hard, and I wonder if she thought he was leaving her again. Could be.
They've built up so much. You were just talking about it, Roxanne. Elliot has been falling down in love with her since he was a child. They were, growing up together. And I'm thinking that at some point, probably in not too distant future, the worm is going to turn, and we're going to find out that Kat is more invested, or she's becoming as invested in Elliot as he is in her. And I think you were spot on that one of the reasons she freaked out was, am I not his entire world anymore? What the heck? She didn't really think much of his marriage. I bet in Kat's mind, he got married because I wasn't available. I was right. Ready, so he settled for Emma. And then she finds out, wait a minute, you were attracted to her? You were into Emma? Where does that leave me? So I think you were right on about why she
freaked out
and headed out. Although the more mature way to handle it would be just to sit down and talk, but
right,
have a show.
So, and when you think about it, you always want someone. I think everybody needs to know that there's at least one person, and it could be your mother, your best friend, your child. It could be a parent, whatever, of a sibling, needs to know that you're their, not that you're their everything, but you're their person. That's how we could say it. And sometimes you don't get that in a marriage. You get it in a best friend. Sometimes you have it with your mom. Sometimes you have it with your sister or a good friend, like whatever. And she thought that she was his person. And she kind of abused it because she ran off
for granted.
Pardon me?
Yes. She took it for granted, big time.
She didn't get that with her husband because he wound up like cheating on her and never really let her be who she wanted to be. She didn't get that at first with her daughter, even though it's her daughter and she died for her daughter. She didn't get that because they had angst, right? And it took them just till recently. She didn't have that with her mother. She doesn't really have any girlfriends. And now she's always had that with Elliot. Like he was her constant, he was her there. Even though time would separate them, he was still there for her. So that's what I'm thinking. And I'm going to say this, that I know people are out there loving her with Thomas or whatever. They're not endgame. It is definitely Elliot and Kat. Definitely. No, if it isn't, I'll be like, really? No. It definitely is. It's just, it's going to be a journey to getting there, All right. Go ahead.
Barbie has an interesting comment. He did not cheat on her. It was never said he cheated on her. Are you talking about Brady there, Barbie? Can you text in real quick that if you're referring to Brady?
Yep.
Because if you're referring to Brady, yeah, he did cheat on her at the very first episode. Mm-hmm. The whole premise for the series, the way it started out was Alice was at her recital playing the guitar, and there was some angst because Brady hadn't shown up because he was too busy with his new girlfriend. Oh gosh, they gave her a name. What's her name? Because they still refer to her.
Yeah, they talk about her all the time.
Yeah, she moved in with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, Brady did definitely cheat on her.
They even talk about like how, like, even though they were in together as a
Rachel. Yep. Thank you, Deborah. Yeah,
husband and wife, they were really not husband and wife. They were separate. Yeah. And then he went and found himself a young girl. Yeah.
I have a request if any of the powers that be, the casting director or the showrunner for The Way Home, if you happen to be listening in or watching this recording, if we're wrong and Sam is not Colton's older brother and you haven't cast that character yet, hire Mark Humphrey. He's my other passion in life. From When Calls the Heart, he was Pastor Frank. He's a wonderful actor. They would act well off each other. So bring him into the Way Home fold. Your viewership will triple.
Okay, and it's like a little sponsor from you. I love it. All right. This is interesting. Cyrus is under the spell of Susanna and lets her have a studio. Yes.
He's under that love spell. I think he's totally
Yes.
in love.
Yes.
How did we come to the conclusion that Cyrus? I know Cyrus was after Jacob and hunting down people, but has he done anything irredeemable? Is he totally evil, or what do we know about that?
Well, as Elijah said, he's been helping the town, and he had them invited them all to the wedding. He's been, trying to keep the town afloat, kind of thing. So I know he had Jacob whipped, but what if we saw that from a different perspective? What if we saw it where he stole from him? He took from him.
It wasn't just cruelty. It was some
Yes.
kind of.
And he didn't actually do the whipping, but other people did, like his henchmen or whatever. So what if we step back and we looked at it that way? Not that everybody would be doing, but he's a businessman, and you stole from me. That's what you get from back then. I'm not saying that he's not a jerk, because he is, but maybe he's not as evil as we thought he was. But again, we know Jacob was tortured.
Not only was he being kind of submissive to Susanna. Susanna didn't look all that repulsed to me.
No, you're right.
She looked like, I'm in the driver's seat, and I'll tell this old coot to do what I want him to do, and that's
She even said, and has he been hurting you? He's like, no, he's been nothing but a gentleman. So well, that could change on a dime. We don't know, or that could change on a coin.
Yep.
All right, Lynn's saying, let's talk about this, and I got to show you something too. Lynn's saying, I think the baby in the basket is Susanna's. I think Alice and Jacob jump into the pond and go see Susanna, and Susanna had a baby and tells Alice and Jacob to hide the baby because of Cyrus. I remember someone else writing that, and that could happen. That could. And by the way, it is a bishop. Everybody's saying yes, 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 it's a bishop. Yeah. And it says, yes, it was a bishop. Remember when Alice threw the looking glass that was a giant chessboard, and Slice enters the world as a white pawn. Okay. Let's see. Not yet. Did you see the looks that he's been giving her, both during the Free the Witch scene last episode and when Thomas and Jacob left her room this episode? He may lock. Oh, you mean may lock her in? Okay. I think Deborah's hand, you know what I mean, got off. Grandpa Hunky. All right. Renee says, at least Elliot was honest and told her, but she is doing whatever she wants without telling him, and she has the nerve to be hurt. Poor Elliot. Oh, they're fine. Yeah. Yeah, I don't see how this is eventually resolved without them being able to get more time to talk to adult Colton to get his perspective about everything. Yes. And Rona says, I think that Colton is from the future and he can travel to all of the time periods.
I think he can travel all the time periods too. I'm just not convinced where he's from.
Oh, all right, Rona. He might be the rule breaker. Who knows? And people are agreeing with you with Sam. Many, many people have said this all along, even back then. Barbara is saying, oh, now Barbara, first of all, this is what I love. This is when people come in to, about their favorite character. She's the one saying did not cheat, right? You put that up. Yeah. It was never said that he cheated on her. Okay. If you say so. How do you know that? I don't even know what they're all saying to each other or to us. I'm not sure. Rachel, that's her name. Okay. I'm getting all the way down here. And this is for you.
Wasn't he wonderful? I was so unhappy when they wrote him off. I thought he and what's her name? I honestly can't think. She owned the saloon, the restaurant. What was her name?
Abigail.
Abigail. I thought he and Abigail were an absolutely wonderful
I
couple.
love them together. They'd go fishing on their little fish dates and then
And
have
walk their horses, and
yeah, I
it was
love them together.
fabulous. Yeah.
Yep, I do. They're both really good actors too, so they had great chemistry, played off of each other. But anyway, Catherine says, "Can we talk about Thomas?" Let's talk about Thomas taking off his coat and pistol and going headfirst into the pond. We did talk about that. I said it, and he came back up and he's like, "Enough." When he couldn't get to time travel, he's like, "Enough." He's had enough. You think he loves Kat? I don't know if he loves her. I think he's bewitched by her. I think he's very much
Infatuated.
infatuated and attracted because they don't have much of a history. But back in those days too, you quickly paired up because that's how the times were. You know what I mean? But I do think he is very
He's
much attracted.
intrigued by her too, because she's
He is.
different. She's the strongest woman he's probably encountered
Yes.
in that time period.
She wows him. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? She's like his fantasy because she is a fantasy to him. And he's so matter of fact about stuff. Like he kisses her and kissed her really hard, right? And she responded and he goes, "And now you've kissed someone too." You know what I mean? Like, okay. Like to him, this is all dumb.
He's
You
very
know?
he's very practical.
Yes. Thank you.
Lynn says, Kathy, if you don't mind, I have a question for you. Would you like it if Colton was still alive? I know I would. I think Colton is definitely alive.
I
He's
do
just been
too.
jumping around from time period to time period. And hey, do you remember in the last episode of season 2, I believe I'm right on this, the very last shot was Colton kind of watching.
Yeah.
So he's definitely still alive. And I think, like I said, I think he's going to be the key to resolving or explaining all the mystery of the time travelers and the pond and how it all fits together. So I don't think we've seen the last of Colton by a long shot.
So Emily is saying he executed Thomas. Cyrus did. And yeah, because what did Thomas do?
He was a pirate, wasn't he?
He was he was stealing from him. They're rum runners. So I watched enough of that time period. That's what happens. You get executed. He is basically the law. That is his town. He's who's in charge. So that's what you do. You have them killed. He was a threat. He was stealing from his livelihood. I am not saying that he's this, oh, I love you, lovey-dovey good kind of man, but it's not out of the ordinary when you have someone who's stealing from you.
He's not evil for the sake of being evil.
Yes.
He had reasons for what he did.
Yes. Yes. So, yeah. The baby in the blanket is Nick and he gets adopted by his 2 moms. I heard that too. Rose said, I'm starting to think the baby in the blanket is Elliot, and the woman was his mother. And Elliot brought up his mom again to Jacob. And do you know what he said?
He said, my mom left us and then she died. At least that's what my dad told me. You know, she's not dead.
Right. No one's ever dead. Not in this show. Okay. The bishop in chess is to protect the queen at all costs. Could Sam be the bishop protecting Dell, the queen, for some reason? Because she is the queen to Colton, and I think Colton is the whole center of all of this. You know?
Would Elliot's mom have been the same age as the kids in where are they at the 70s? Young Colton and young Dell. Would Elliot's mom have been their contemporary?
Say it again. Elliot's mom would have been young like Vic.
Would she have been the contemporary of the kids that we see in the 70s? Young Colton, young Dell, young Evelyn.
No, she would be the age of Vic. Remember, Vic's young.
Young Vic, she would have been a little kid.
Yeah. She would have been younger. Yes. I think Dell's friend is more than a busybody. I do too, Emily Ann. I think she is too. She's got a strong personality and she is a busybody, but she does love Dell. And She does check out stuff. She's just the busybody. Someone's got to be the busybody. But when it comes to Dell, she's a fantastic heart, and she is
I hope
extremely
that's true.
loyal.
I hope she's not trying to sabotage her relationship with
No,
Sam.
I don't think so. I mean, she was extremely loyal. I mean, she's always been fierce. When we first met her, she was picking up for her, saying, "Your daughter's back." She and it took you this how long to get and like healthy again, and she was planning her, the ceremony for they were going to finally say that Jacob was dead and do the whole tombs. It took you so long. I want to see you sink back. And she was like, protective of her. You know what I mean? That's just how she is. And of course, she is loud, and she's almost like, if you watch When Calls the Heart, who is she on When Calls the Heart? She's Florence
Mm-hmm.
to a degree, right?
Yeah. She
So
was a busybody initially, and then she kind of softened.
yes.
Yeah. I wonder if season 4 is going to focus more on the whole Colton origins story and Elliot's mom, because I can't see how they bring her back, and maybe at the end as a cliffhanger, bring her back. I have every confidence she's going to show up because they've started referring to her, and we know how that works out. And I think Vic is going to come back too. So
I do. I absolutely don't think his story's over with him. Christina says, I think Colton's a time traveler to any time period, just like you were saying. So I remember I was looking at something. Poor Evelyn, a lot happened to her, and this was important. I think that Colton wrote her a love note and was going to tell her that he was in love with her. Or he definitely felt a strong connection to her. And he did it with the books when you put them together, because he says to when he hears when Alice says she needs a friend, and she goes back and you see Evelyn and her look on her face, and you could tell her heart starting to break. She is alone. She doesn't have siblings that we know of, and they're not close to her. She doesn't have a family that's kind of close to her. I feel like she's the person trapped up in that attic. And so she has Colton all this time. They lose their good friend recently. Now she's little by little losing Colton. And Colton, she goes, remember we used to write it to each other when our parents didn't want us to be together and be friends, and we'd hide it in the tree, we'd hide it there. And she goes, books. And he looks at her and he's like, I'm going to go. Why don't you take a ride with me? He being Colton, looking, the person who says books is Alice. And everybody, recapping here. But it's important because he's like, I didn't ever mention books. And she kind of like poo-poos around it. And he's like, don't tell Evelyn about it. Because when you read what he wrote, and he says, come to the pond, and he put love, Colton, I really think that he thought there would be something. He was going to say to her, I love you, before she went off to Morocco or whatever. And then a lot of different things happened. And in walks Dell. And she rocked his socks. Do you know what I mean? Rocked his whole world. And he was like, whoa. And it all shifted and changed. And that's what made Evelyn's world even smaller. And that is why she was so bitter. Along the way, she has a baby, whether the baby's adopted or what, we don't know. But along the way, she has a kid. Yes.
I kind of disagree. I think that Colton is sensitive enough that he wouldn't have just gotten that serious with her to, writing love Colton in that way, and then just blew her off or just ignored it and gone with Dell. I think he may have meant it in a different way. She may have interpreted it as he's in love with me, when he just meant, I'll send you a note, love Kathy. I don't think it necessarily meant the same thing to him as it meant to her, because I don't think he would have been able to just cut her off and go with Dell if he knew that she thought they were in love or that they had a future together. That just doesn't seem like Colton to me.
But Colton that we know now is not the Colton that I see. I feel he has a whole different vibe when we meet him as a young guy.
I'm talking about young Colton. Young Colton was very sensitive. The minute he saw Dell, he knew that was it. I mean, if you look at how emotional he was with Dell, and he was he was best friends with Rick and is it Evie or Evie?
It's Evelyn.
Yeah, he was best friends with them. I don't think if he thought she was in love with him, he would have just been, Evie, what are you doing here? No, don't go with her. I'll drive you. I don't think he would have been that cold with her if he thought she was in love. I think the love Colton was just as a friend. Or
Okay, and
that's
I don't
possible. I don't know that for a fact, but I think that's one of the ways it could go.
I think he thought it was more than that. Um, I think he thought it was more than that. I do, especially, and maybe because of circumstances. Maybe he's like, he didn't know that he could feel another way until she walked in, until Dell walked into his life, because he had already written the message in those books and given it to her right before he turns around, and there comes Dell. So,
But the part I
yes.
can't get over is even if he did feel that way,
Hmm.
that he wouldn't have given a backward glance. I'm sorry, or I'm sorry, but she's the one. He wouldn't have that Colton wouldn't have just ignored the situation and gone on his merry way, pursuing. I nearly said wooing. I think that's from the early 1900s. He wouldn't have gone on pursuing Dell and just leaving leaving Evie just kind of hanging there. That's what I'm not saying.
Hmm. I don't know that he thinks he is just leaving her hanging there. I think he's not really, like, his brain is all over the place, especially because of the death of his friend.
Well, yeah. Hopefully they'll answer these questions.
Yes. Now, I wanted to show you before we take anyone else's, and we're coming up on our hour here. I wanted to add this. I thought this was interesting. Got to take this away. This is from The Way Home, and I pasted it on our Facebook page, but it says, I can't even see it looking at it there. Other people might, my eyes are not what they used to be. It says, could Cat be getting closer to the answering the biggest mysteries of the season? Shocking answers are revealed in Friday's all-new episode. So we're going to get a lot of answers apparently in this next episode that's, only a few days away. Which premieres at 9/8 Central on Hallmark Channel and then streams Saturday on Hallmark Plus. So it says shocking answers are revealed in Friday's new episode. So I was wondering, what do you think those shocking answers are? You and everyone else, please weigh in.
Hopefully they'll reveal what's really happening with Susanna and Cyrus. I think they may show more information on who that baby was or is or was, or, they may resolve something with Kat and Thomas. I mean, if they have a conversation, hopefully they'll reveal who Sam is or start giving more hints as to who he is. I don't know. There's so many questions out there on the table. I don't think they'll answer all of them in one episode, but hopefully some of these questions will be answered. Who's writing the notes to tell? And I had the distinct impression she knew exactly what it was about when the notes first came up, because she was horrified. Instead of, it wasn't, what the heck does this mean? She was horrified when it first started. Now all of a sudden she doesn't know what they're alluding to. It even occurred to me that Rita may be writing them. I thought maybe Sam, but now I'm thinking maybe Rita's writing them.
I don't think it's anything like that. I think it's something that's a totally different mystery. I always thought when we first started the season, I always thought that the accident that he had was caused, and I may have said this before, was caused by something different. Like, because he liked the boat, maybe they were asking him to smuggle and he said no, drugs, or whatever. Somebody was after him, and that's where the accident happened. And even though people go back in time, the accident is still going to happen, but now of course it looks like it's Kat and Alice that caused it. I feel like always was going to happen, and I would like to know who originally did it, not necessarily them. That was always in the back of my head, but then we get into that whole conundrum of time. If Colton was in 1814, do you think he saw Kat in the painting and that's why he knew Kat? Yes, I think he saw the painting. I don't know if he saw Kat. Maybe he does, but he definitely saw the painting, and I think that's why he said what he said. I've always thought that from the moment we saw it. Someone up here was saying she never saw those messages anyway because they weren't revealed until this season. Yes, we know. She didn't. She never saw them. That's why she never got the messages. And of course, Colton was afraid, and Colton said, "Don't let her see them." Yeah, she never saw them. Yep, I know. But her life was very small. So a lot happened. I'm interested to know how much more. Um, let's see. They might start to reveal why and how Colton's sweater wound up at the pond, who Casey really is. Yep. I think that okay. Um, Based on the promo, it seems they'll show Teen Colton's trip to 1814. Yes. He comes out of the pond, he's like, "Where am I?" kind of thing. Up, we'll see some more about Grandma Fern. She's going to be coming up along the way some way, right? Okay. And you like Max. Tell us why you like Max. People are talking about that.
I just like his attitude. He's not. He's a rebel, and I like the whole trope of enemies to lovers, and I think that's where they're headed with this, with him and Alice. I think that's the pair. That's the one true couple, the OTP, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
I just like his attitude. He's kind of feisty,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of keeps her off balance. She doesn't quite know how to deal with him, and she was kind of pushy, and he kind of pushed back, like, "You don't just go up into my attic and start rummaging around." It's like, bossy. All the Landry women are so freaking bossy.
I hear you. Lynn says, "I have a question. Did Alice look shocked or scared when Casey jumped into the pond? I couldn't tell." Oh, I don't think she was
She
shocked.
was astonished. I mean, I think she was shocked that this person who's not a Landry, as far as she knows, jumped into the pond and didn't come up.
Well, at that moment, she knows she's more than a
Yeah,
good
but think about it. It's somebody other than her mom and her or Elliot jumped into that pond. Yeah, it was that first reaction was shock.
I didn't think, I think she always kept saying she was a time traveler. So I think she kind of knew it in her heart that that was what was going to happen. I do. I didn't. Yeah. Um, some people think Dell's family was involved in crime. Could have been why the father lost everything. Guy in jail having to do with Dell's family, but that may be for next season. It's true. How much Elle actually knows. I don't think people think he holds back all kinds of mysteries. I don't think that at all. I never thought that. Remember Kat's actually been trying her best to push away her true feelings for Tom. Their true feelings for Thomas. I believe she knew even before the kiss that her and Elle may not be endgame. Okay, Nicole. Yeah, alrighty. I like Max so far too. And there's more plot to deal with there because of the Evelyn connection. Yeah. And yes, we're definitely going to find out about Casey's ring, and we're definitely going to find out about the Goodwin or / Augustine ring, right? I'm curious why Max reacted the way he did when Alice talked about Evelyn, especially if he was supposed to be so close to her. He was upset. He didn't like, I felt he was more protective of anything. What do you think?
That's the vibe I got.
Mm-hmm. Intrigued by the no emotion Max. I don't think Alice was shocked. I think she was more, she realized what might be her future and was scared. Okay. I think Casey's ring was Colton's engagement ring that he gave Dell. They zeroed in on the ring, on the box. Dell could have given it to Brady to give to Kat. No. People said that before. Absolutely not. He would have gotten his own ring for her. No, no, no. And she would have recognized it. Yeah.
Wasn't he going to use the ring he had from his? Was it his grandmother?
No.
The ring that Victor stole.
No, no. This is what they're talking about. The ring Casey has around her neck.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that it really belongs to Dell, and it was given to Dell.
Okay.
Because Dell gave it to Brady to propose to Kat.
Gotcha.
He had his own ring. That wasn't Brady. No. Yep. And it came from Tiffany's, and it was in a blue box. You are correct. It was a big deal. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They never showed Evelyn They never showed Evelyn dead. No funeral or anything. Is she still alive? Nope. It was assumed that she was dead. They said it, that she passed away, and then they had a big estate sale, and that's why everybody was going through her house. They said she passed away, and when Dell walked in, she saw the wheelchair and all the pills and realized how small of a sad life she led just looking out that window. All right. The letters that are sent to Dell are typed, so I do believe it's done this way because Dell will know who sent them if they were in his or her handwriting. Okay. There's always that handwriting analysis they could do, but they can always, I don't know. I guess it's harder to find the old typewriter that it was in. I forget who was it that said that, you know, the Elliot and Kat are not endgame, and that the thing about Thomas. I said this before. When the writers started this series, this is a fact, I'm not making this up. When the writers started this series, Thomas was not even a character that would be an ongoing character. He was a tool that they used for when she went back into time to find him there. Jacob, when Kat went back in time to find Jacob in the past. And that's where she got introduced to him. And they talked about the lighthouse. They talked about the ghost in the lighthouse. Then she realizes those coins rumbling. And I've said this multiple times, multiple times. But people, I think, whatever, want to believe what they want to believe. That was not their intention for Endgame. And when they saw the fun chemistry the two had, they decided at the end to make him not die and bring him back for the next season. His part's very small. They're connecting it all in. They gave him the name Coil because the Coil stamp was just on there, and they thought, oh, let's make it Coil. They went with that, and that actually has something to do with the guitar. So, and they branched off. That was some new stuff that they did. So it was not their intention to make him Endgame. These writers are good writers. And of course, things come out and you pull a little thread, as a showrunner once said. But let's make sure you're pulling the right thread so you don't unravel the whole thing. Okay. So they're not going to go by the way of whatever. Now, some people are out there campaigning hard. Oh, they heard us. That's why. They didn't. By the time they wrote what they wrote for the next season, that was already written and they heard afterwards. So people keep thinking you're hearing us now, so that affects the writing. That's not how it worked. That's not what happened. So, no. That's why I say that. I could be wrong, but no. Oh, you want a Coils t-shirt? There aren't any. Let's talk about that. There is no official merch. They don't have any. And I had to get, right, Kathy, legal permission from Hallmark to do Ponderers, the hashtag. And I was told you can have the hashtag. You thought up the hashtag. It's great. And you're using it with your fan page. You can, but you can't have a picture of a pond. You can't say any of the other words, nothing. So we have that merch on this page. Some of you were new to the page, or maybe you've been here from the beginning and you missed it. I don't know how, but people miss stuff all the time because there's a couple thousand people. There you are. There it is. Now, so no, there's no t-shirt, no Coils, no nothing. We cannot, not unless we have permission, and we don't. You want to do something on your own illegally? That's on you, but you can't advertise it on the page.
Or keep an eye out for Hallmark for the show. Maybe they'll do something.
Yes. And it was funny. Let me see where that goes. It was funny because I'm looking and getting sidetracked. When we had on Jordan and Devin, they're like, I was like, where's the merch for this show? We need merch. I'm like, yeah, tell me about it. Right. They even brought it up. No, Emily, you want to make your own Coils t-shirt? That's on you, but I cannot advertise it in any way, shape, or form. Sorry. I mean, what you do in the privacy of your own home is your business. Do you know what I mean? Like, but we can't reproduce them. We can't make them and even say, oh, we're making them for no.
And Lord knows we can't sell them.
Yes. We don't even sell them. A company, a small company, a small run woman, I'm just telling you, female, woman, whatever, business in New Jersey makes them for us, and then we ship them out. So it's not, and we have permission to do that. So I'm not campaigning and want the chips fall where they may. The continuing awkwardness between Kat and Elle is painful to watch, though. I don't find them awkward.
It's the bumps. It's the path that the one true couple finds themselves on. They're going to write all kinds of tension and drama because that's how they sustain this before the series finally ends and, you know, they live happily ever after.
I think what a lot of people are saying, that they don't feel they have any chemistry as actors together.
I've heard that before about couples that I thought the chemistry was oozing off the page. So it's a matter of perspective.
Sometimes. Here's what happens. Okay. This is what happens. When someone is attracted to a particular actor, then it doesn't matter if they have chemistry with anyone. They're just so attracted by that actor. That actor could step in a pile of poo and they thought it was hot. Okay. Oh, look at that when he stomped on the poo, and the way he rinsed off his boot was just, oh, so hot, and whatever you want to call it. Like, people get so like crazy. I don't look at it that way. I look at it in the whole storyline, how they are together. And I'm sorry, but you can have chemistry, and the two actors have chemistry. Chris and Kyler have chemistry. There's no denying that they do. They're not awkward when they're together to me. They don't make sense in that way, that where they're writing that storyline. I don't find that Evan and Kyler don't have chemistry. I think they do. It's a different kind of chemistry, and their story's a little different. I'm okay with it. But you know,
I think Evan and Kyler have loads of chemistry, and I think not Evan and Kyler. Yes, I'm sorry. I think that Elliot and Kat have loads of chemistry. I mean, it jumps off the page at me. And I think that Evan and Kyler have chemistry. I've seen them on panels. They almost finish each other's sentences. I don't mean romantic chemistry necessarily, but it's almost like they're besties. And so they may be work besties, but they are very, very much in sync, and they are very protective of their characters. If you've ever seen interviews with them together, they are. And so I agree with you. I don't see all that much chemistry with Thomas and Kat. I just, it's a matter of perspective. He's a good actor. I think that it'll be interesting to see, any other appearances he makes, where they go, where they take this, and how his character will help further the plot. Because there's more, they keep bringing up, this bit about he ended up in New York, and
his history.
His history and his not his ancestors, his descendants, and who they are. And they may go with that storyline. But I agree with you, Roxanne, that Elliot and Kat are the end game. And part of that is the fact that there is tension and what you may perceive as awkwardness, because they can't just have them go smoothly, into that final season. So I think we're going to continue to see little bumps and arguments and, misunderstandings as we go along.
Right. I agree. Okay. Cindy says, I think the tears will be about adult Colton. So here's the thing. Sadie did that as a spoiler and said a lot of tears were coming. So, okay. Could be. I'm not saying you're wrong. Could be. All right. Let's see what we got down here. Allie. Kyler and Evan's chemistry is undeniable on and off screen. Kyler and Evan have even spoken on this and how connected, close, and comfortable they feel with each other. Yes, that is true. Yes. And they're clearly besties. Well, I don't even like to say that they're clearly besties in real life, but who they portray as the characters have a tough time with the physical connection. So I don't think that at all. But I have to tell you, besties in real life, I think, work against chemistry on camera, because besties in real life, I mean, listen, you either have the chemistry or you do not. You know what I mean? It's not something that you can make up. It's either there or it isn't. Yeah. Steve. Hello, Steve. Let's see what this Steve has to say. If Thomas somehow time travels to the present day, will he lose some of his romance novel appeal if he's just an average Joe wearing khakis in the 2025, or would it make no difference? Steve, you're good, Steve, because Steve, I thought of this and someone else had said it. And yes, I think that yes, you're hitting on something, bud. Yes, yes.
Gets a buzz cut, flannel shirt, some construction boots. Yeah, he'd lose some of that magic.
Thomas would wear ripped jeans. He I don't know. I don't think he'd wear ripped
kind of
jeans.
teenage.
Yeah, he wouldn't wear ripped jeans. He'd be cute though. He'd be handsome. He's a handsome guy anyway.
I think it would be hilarious and really interesting to see Elliot travel back to that period. I think he would be like a fish out of water.
Allie, I'm not saying he can. I don't mean that at all. I'm just saying, like the people, they were just Steve's just saying if he was in president, is it because sometimes it's the swashbuckling, hero kind of sexiness about it. Steve, yes, yes, lose the charm. I agree, Steve, but Thomas can't lose the accent. That's part of it, right, Christina? And I could see where he would be, he could put on everyday clothes and be hot. He could. And it's because that adds to it, but he's got a funny, practical, sarcastic, dry sense of humor. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think he could probably pull it off. You would like them to have time with Susanna? I don't know that Susanna would like Elliot.
Oh, I think she'd adore Elliot. Everybody adores Elliot, and it would be so funny to see him in that time period. I think it would be hysterical. I think it'd be funny to watch him and Thomas banter.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I would too. Like, wait, Brady and the two actors were phenomenal. Their scenes are so great when they go at each other and the dialogue that they write for them. We need more of that. And you know what?
That's what I meant. They need more humor, more lightness.
Yes, they do. I'm missing that. So I hope the powers that be are listening. More humor. I love Brady now. Like the new Brady after he's been living at home with Rachel and knowing, all this stuff. He's hilarious. And the stuff he says, I love when he said, the Goodwin wine, it's good wine. Oh no, that's a terrible line. That's terrible. That's terrible. As he's helping, like, I miss him and I hope that we see more of him. I really enjoy him. I really, really enjoy him. You're late. That's okay, Allie. You're putting your 2 cents in. That's good enough. He could still carry his swagger, and I love his sense of humor and cool, calm demeanor. Yes, that's why I was like, he could.
That's what would be so funny about him and Elliot playing off each other, because Elliot is like the total opposite of swagger.
Yes, and he'd be like, I would love to see. Wait, where's the veterinarian, Kathy? Okay. I want to see all the men. Maybe she gets sick and they're all by her bed and she has a fever dream. And in her fever dream, here comes Elliot and they have her. And then Elliot leaves and in comes Thomas. And then Thomas leaves and in comes the vet. And the vet leaves and in comes Brady. And Brady leaves and whoever the heck else.
The vet is the best male kisser on the show. I will give him that. The boy can kiss.
Kathy's so scarred by that. I think Thomas is Kat's fantasy and escape, and I don't know that she would want him in present day. I don't know. I like him though. She likes keeping him a secret. I feel like she might panic if he told her he jumped. Yes, old Emily, and we know you have a soft spot for that one because you're like very passionate. But he is great, isn't he? He is great. We need more of him. Let's campaign for that.
If we're ever going to meet Rachel.
That's just something they keep out in the like off to the side. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jacob's sense of humor is great too. Every woman should marry their fantasy. No, because here's what happens with that, Catherine. I don't know how old you are, if you married your fantasy or whatever. Here's what happens with that. Fantasy is a fantasy. And then and it's a shame. I don't like when here's why I don't like when that happens. Because I'm going to go back to, I almost said the person's name, the person who worshiped the ground I walked on, right? I used to say to my mother, One day, let me tell a quick story. One day I was moving in at our house and I ran into the this is when you got videos at the video place. Yes. And I ran in and I run in to get a video. My hair is plastered to my head. I had goofy outfit on, like my pajamas with a robe jacket. And I run in and there is the person I was talking about, has seen me forever. And are you okay, Kathy? You're so beautiful. Oh, you look so lovely. So I went home and I said to my mother and sister, I want you to look at me. Do you see this? And they said, yeah. I said, is that beautiful? And they're like, well, no, but you were just, nobody could see us. I said, oh, someone saw me. And someone said how beautiful I was because they're delusional. They don't even know what my favorite food is. Maybe they do because they're stalkerish, but they don't know me really. They don't know what's in my heart. They just have this persona. You don't want to marry your fantasy, because what happens when you get to really know who they are and how they are human with faults and everything else, then you say to yourself, oh, and you get mad at it. Well, that's not their fault. It's yours. So there's my take on that. That's my therapy lesson. It's a free one. You don't have to pay me. Allison feels bad for Brady because he literally is the only one who doesn't know about the pond.
Even as far as we know.
Yes, even Nick knows.
Here's something interesting. If you didn't cover it, oh, you got one up.
Nope. You find out that they are not the be all to end all when you really get to know them. Yes. Go ahead. What you're going to put, Kathy?
So, oh, no offense, Cindy. That wasn't the one when I moved. These messages move so fast. For Stella says, for Brady, his typo blood type still needs to come into play. Thank you, Stella. I don't think these writers bring up anything for nothing. That was what, 2 seasons ago? That they made a point of what his blood type at 1 season ago. I think that's still
season 1.
Season 1. Okay.
I was working with beets today. If my hands look red, sorry. Go ahead.
And so maybe they're changing and they just dropped this particular thread. Otherwise, that's still going to come into play, and I have no idea how. But they mentioned that for a reason.
Yeah. And you know what? For like someone who was saying about Thomas, and then we shoot it down. That's us. Don't get your feathers in a ruffle. You campaign for your character that you love. That's good. That's on you. You do it. We just get to hog it because we have a podcast and we get to say it. But you post, you love them, you write everything you want, put it out there. That's perfectly fine. And the same with people who are in love with Brady, those who want Nick and Kat and President. I mean, and Allison.
Going somewhere else with that. Adult Nick and Alice. No, that's no.
I mean, though, this is what you love. This is what you want. You want to write about it. It's perfectly fine. And I have a rule that if you're going to put a post up and you're going to say something like, I don't know, who's Casey? Who do we really think Casey is? And then people get under there and say, Casey's story is dumb. Why is Casey's story even there? I don't like this story. I want this.
I don't know the story yet.
Yes. Here's what I have to say. Get off. That's not what that post is about. I'm allowed to express my opinion. You sure are. Go make your own post. And on your own post, say, I don't like Casey's part. I think it's dumb. And go make a new post, and then people can write about how they think it's dumb too. We don't want to poo-poo on someone's joy. Someone could say, I'm loving Kat and Elliot. What do you think? Oh, now you open yourself up. Someone's going to come under there and say, you're not working for me. I like her with no one. I like her with Susanna. I like her with the veterinarian. I like her with Thomas. You opened it up, and that's okay. But when we start poo-pooing and arguing and you're going to be just tossed out, because this is supposed to be fun. People are campaigning. We're going to do a blackout. We're using the hashtag. If we don't get who we want in the show, we're going to make sure that our hashtag trends, and they got to give it to us, or the show's going to be canceled. Really? What are we like? I'm mad, so I'm taking the ball and I'm going home, and you're stuck on the playground without it because I didn't get my way. Anyway, that's where I am. I think I need some therapy from adminning this page and this other one. People are mean. You didn't get your way. Boo-hoo. Move on. I cried so hard when Elliot was still singing and Kat walked over and hugged Elle. I know, that was a beautiful scene. Those 2 are always fighting, but they have the best makeups. Elle and, Kat. They have the best makeups. I love it. I love their makeups. People probably think I need therapy after all my complaining. You want season 4 to get announced? Don't start. You want season 4 to get announced. People want a lot of things, right? Well, we need to let people know that you want it. We have a contest going on right now. So the contest is on Instagram and it's for this week, every day this week. We can hear that. We can't have a private, it's really loud, the ice, right? We can
It
hear.
can be louder. I know along with what you're saying.
I'm gonna mute you. All right, I'm gonna mute myself. The contest is on the page, and people are like, "I can't find it. Can you show me?" No, and I can't show you because there's 20-some thousand people on the page, and I am bombarded with like 1,000 questions every day. Help yourself. We make it very friendly. It is there. Look in the chat, look in the featured at the top. I post things every day. I at all of you. If you have your notifications turned off, that's why you don't get the adding. So that's your choice and that's okay. But anyway, I even make a video and I say step 1, step 2, step 3, and then people skip steps. You can't skip steps. So here's how it goes. On Instagram, if you have an Instagram account, you are to make a post about how you love the way home. I don't care what kind of post it is. Put the hashtag the way home, the hashtag that we put up there, ponder more in season 4. And you've got to you must is the post pinned? It is. You must the Hallmark and you must the way home. I gave all of that. Yes. What's the, oh, Catherine, listen to me. It's all in what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's all posted. It's all there for you. I even made an example. I made a video. I gave step-by-step directions, and I made an example. And it's all this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now, some of you you didn't do it. It's supposed to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Lynn, we have Lynn on here. She is so good at following directions. Thank you, Lynn. She follows them to the T. She's done everything correct. Thank you. I appreciate it. Some people had hiccups and asked. I was able to help them, blah, blah. Anyway, it's a really good package because we have exclusive merch. We have it, and we're going to send it out to you. Could be a hoodie, could be a t-shirt, could be both. We have stuff Alice in Wonderland related. We have things Pond related. It's a nice package. We call it the Ponderer package. And it's you letting Hallmark know that you want a season 4. And those of you that are on X, you know that data gets collected by Nielsen, and we have been killing it. 6,000, 5,000. It gets more and more. I would love it to be double digits. Double digits. So we are out in full force. Arlene, I don't know what page you mean. I'm telling you that it's an Instagram. It's your page. On your page, you're going to make a post. But here's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anymore. I'm going to say search it on our Facebook page. All the directions are there. Video, step-by-step, and examples. There we go. All right. We got a Kat and a Thomas before we go. I got to see this. Kat told Thomas that she could have loved him, but she loves someone else. Who was she talking about? Not Elle. Yeah, that's who she was talking about. She was talking about Elle. Yes. Yes. What song do y'all think Colton was going to sing to Dell? Was it the song or another song? Probably the song. I'm posting the 5 things I love most about the show. Oh, Allie, that's such a cool idea. Now, how it works is everybody that follows the directions, you will get put into a drawing and I will pull out a winner. Yes. Okay. All righty. I was wild tonight, but I'm frustrated. You can tell.
Nah, it didn't come through at all.
No, not at all.
Usually the last 3 episodes, folks.
Yeah. 2 before the finale. It's too good of a show.
Which means we're also coming closer to spring.
And yes, but you want to know what else it is too, Kathy? we need more people to watch the show. It's important. It's like that's why I try to say, if you could let people know, like bring a friend, have them join the Facebook page, and then go on to X and tweet with us, I'm new to the pond, and write and tweet and help us to get it to trend. That would be great, because they need other people besides us, other people that aren't familiar with Hallmark, more people. I think it would be fun. Yes, how can 7 weeks have gone by? I don't know. Season 4, Cindy, they don't usually announce it. When they announced it right away, I think, after season 1, only because it was, I think, a 2-season deal. Like, they knew, so they could say it. Like, no matter what I think no matter what the ratings were, it was a 2-season deal, And then they got the 3rd season. They didn't tell us right away. But I'm not worried. I just want them to blow up. All right. They're now arguing about if it's L or not.
It's L.
Oh. Lynn says, I know we got to say goodnight. It's insane they haven't. Truly the best show on TV. I have a friend I call every Friday, and I ask her if she's ready for the show tonight. And then we discuss it like the episode on Monday. Me and my dad watch together too. I know, Lynn. I hear you. Yep. No, never heard that. That's what everybody always says. People think people are hired within 5 seasons. It takes 5 seasons. I don't know. We're real. We're not going to lie. We're not going to get on there and say everything's sunshine. And if it's not, what would be the purpose?
This is the way I get to really express myself about the show. So I'm always going to be honest about how I feel about it. Good, bad, or indifferent.
We're going to end with this because it's funny. People are arguing over that whole I can't. I'm having a flashback to another show. They talk about it at work a lot too. I wanted to end with this because it's funny. I love it, Jean. We need to get us boxing gloves. No, we don't.
It's it feels to me like this winter has gone by very quickly.
It has.
Which is unusual.
Life is going by too fast.
I was thinking about that. I went somewhere. I had to run errands yesterday. And it seems like everywhere I went, I arrived at my destination, and I was like, am I here already? Maybe because there was no traffic yesterday because it was President's Day, but it just seems like time is flying by now. For winter, I'm good with that. Once spring gets here, I want, the sound of the record scratching. Okay, stop now and let's slow down and enjoy the warmer weather, but I cannot wait for it. The winter drains me. I need sunshine. I think I have seasonal affective disorder.
All right. I need to go to bed disorder. I have to go do a few things and then go to bed. All right. Okay, friends, thank you. We went well over our time, almost an hour and a half. For those of you who are asking who our guests are, we don't know. We have all kinds of requests. We've requested many people, many, and they all have different kinds of schedules, and we don't know ourselves until they say, hey, can we do it this day? And we're like, yes, we can, right? Yes.
We'll definitely keep you posted, though.
Yes. All right. I got to go dry off. We dipped in the pond too long.
Oh, okay.
Bye, everyone.
Good night, all.